Jessica.
One more time.
Jessica.
Anna.
I'm Meg.
Brennan. Ivana.
Lou Hamilton.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Sydney Blankenship, and today I'm here to talk to you about childcare reform. Now, about 2 years ago, I used to work at a daycare in Houston, Texas. I'm not going to name it because it was a very bad place, and I don't really want to have a lawsuit on my hands. But we had a lot of problems. We were always out of ratio. There were way too many kids compared to how many teachers we had. There would be a lot of fighting between the toddlers, and we didn't get paid enough. I made minimum wage, which was not enough to deal with that. I think that it's incredibly important that if Americans want to protect their future, we should be trying to, we need to focus on protecting the children who make up the future. Now, the big problem with most daycares is there is not enough money. So we get really bad staff, not enough staff. You have Texas, which has the wider ratio from kids to teachers than any other state. According to the Texas Department of Protective Services, it's 1 to 26 kids in classes 6 to 12, instead of the national average, which is 1 to 14 children. And that's a ridiculous amount of children added on to that. Most daycare workers make $10 an hour, which is not enough to work with somebody's kids. I made $7.50, and food is incredibly cheap and unhealthy. It's usually Cheetos, stuff they can order in from McDonald's, pizza places, because according to Infant, Child, and Adolescent Nutrition, Volume 7, the kitchens had to be commercial in style to actually serve real food, which means you couldn't just have a crock pot and something going for the kids. You'd have to either bring it in from an established restaurant to have real food for the kids. So most times you just kind of get parents throwing in a couple snack packs into their lunch boxes and Pizza Hut. And when you have a lack of staff, you have a lack of safety. This right here is Mr. Raymond Pryor Jr. I'm going to go ahead and take that. He's a very sweet little boy, and he was about 3 years old this year when he passed away in July 2018. He was found 4 hours after he had been accounted for during a field trip. He had died of heat exhaustion inside of the bus, and nobody knew where he went until they checked the bus. The same daycare, which is now closed, thankfully, had problems in the past with children being left behind on the bus just because the teachers were rushing through roll call. And in 2015, they were told they needed to put some type of safety measure inside the bus so the kids could ring a bell, pull something to let them know that they were still in there, which they never addressed. And then also in 2015, actually this was this year, 2-year-old in Baytown in October of this year crawled under a fence into oncoming traffic. Now he's okay, he was actually saved by a pedestrian, but that daycare was also shut down because they had 17 prior violations starting in 2015. And it's kind of ridiculous that we're putting our hands in the people who are paid less than McDonald's workers. I wouldn't be doing my best job if I was getting paid only enough to eat fast food every day, and I don't think most people would. Now, a lot of studies have shown that kids need constant interactions so they can develop problem-solving skills, social skills, various skills they need to succeed later in life. And when they're stripped of that, when they're forced into a room where they have to basically fight to survive through other kids, you're kind of starting the habit of petty crime. You steal a toy from another kid, you beat people up to solve your problems, and that's what leads to violence in later life and eventually criminals. Preschool is now a necessity in America. Most women don't stay at home, they can't afford to do so. Price of living has gone up and up and up, and so we have to force our children to go into places where we're trusting somebody to take care of them 9 hours out of the day. Low-income daycares lack manpower, and it's really most of the time not even their fault. There's too many kids, not enough teachers, and we fall into this cycle of poverty where we can't help them get back out of it because we just keep putting more kids into the same system and we're just spewing out more adults that have the exact same problems their parents did. The only way we're going to be able to improve the US daycare system is if we get federal aid. They need to have federal subsidies. More daycares need to be federally regulated. Less home office building kind of things where they run it out of their house. Stuff that way they have a federal official come in every day and make sure things are being run right. There also needs to be more access to better 24-hour care because unfortunately nobody works that 9-to-5 lifestyle anymore, and that's when most daycares or reputable daycares are actually open. So when we're forcing our kids to kind of have to go to maybe babysitters and people who don't really know too much about child development, we're also still feeding into that cycle where we can't really take care of them the way they need to be taken care of. They need to hire more staff at the existing daycares that are there. When we don't have enough staff, we run into problems. And if we have more staff, there's also the ability to open those 24-hour daycares and continue the cycle. When we have better staff, we have happier kids and better adults. So we need to reform our daycare system in the United States, but it's not impossible. They've started doing such things in Europe, and it's quite successful, and mostly we just need to focus more on child development so we can better our own future.